Hello everyone, my name is Anushka Jha, and right now with us we have Anurag Kumar, who is the Chief Growth Officer at Eureka Forbes. Hi
Hi
Anurag,
Anushka,
thank you so much for joining us.
thank you for having me.
So as we all know, Eureka Forbes, it is one of the leading pioneers in the household appliances, electronics, and so on. So, talking about the sector in particular, and since we are at the start of the year 2025, I would like to understand how has let's talk about reflecting on the year 2024. How has the year been? If you could just give us the summary. How has the performance of Eureka Forbes been in the year 2024, and also if you talk about broadly for this entire segment, if you could just give us a summary.
Sure. So in fact, we just announced 2 days ago our third quarter results for the financial year. If I were to look at 2024-25 financial year, and we've grown at about 12.5% on continuing business. So in the 9 months that have happened since April. And so, yeah, it's been a good, strong double-digit performance, and I think we are quite happy with that. And it builds further from what we had delivered in the previous year. So, if you were to further look at the results, we have two parts of our business. We have the product revenue part, which is similar to any other consumer durables, and we also have a service component to the business, which is all our AMCs, etc., and service charges, which our water purifier customers incur over the lifetime. If I look at the product part of it, product actually has grown in strong double digits, in excess of 15%. And therefore, we are quite happy with the strong product revenue growth also, which has come in. Yeah. I think if I broadly look at the sector, I think we operate in what's called as small domestic appliances, with water purifiers and vacuum cleaners being the major categories that we play in. And this year we have seen good growths in both the segments, in excess of 15% in both the segments. I think that's the kind of growth we are starting to see. And we are happy that the growth has actually accelerated over the past years. And I think given the vast opportunity of penetration in both these categories, because very few consumers in India actually have either of these two categories today in terms of ownership, we believe that growth trajectory should continue to actually sustain in the future.
Okay, great to hear that. So, moving ahead, as we all know, Eureka Forbes has a strong legacy in the two main products, that is water purification and home solutions category. So,
Right.
how has your marketing strategies have evolved the recent times to stay more relevant with an increase in the digital driven market?
Yeah. No, I think that's a great question, and we have tried to keep it, relatively simple. And if I were to look at water purifiers, I think we've realized there are two large opportunities from a product standpoint. One is the fact that today the market penetration, if I look at urban India, is less than 15%. Rural India is like 3%. So there's a vast opportunity to increase penetration, get new consumers into the category, and we have a leading brand like Aquaguard, which is the number one brand in the category. So we've actually had a clear job from a marketing standpoint to actually draw new consumers into the category. So that's one thing which we focus on. The other thing which we focus on is to look at the opportunity to drive premiumization in the market. And there's obviously a certain number of consumers who already have purifiers, and when they come into the replacement market, after a few years, they typically look for an opportunity to premiumize with better technology, newer technology. And that's where I think the role of innovations has come in the picture to premiumize the market. So we've focused on both those opportunities this year. On vacuum cleaners, we've actually noted that the market has actually started to premiumize towards convenience cleaning segments, such as the robotic vacuum cleaners or the handheld and upright vacuum cleaners. And a lot of our focus actually has been on those segments of the market. I think from a marketing standpoint, we follow a classical approach of, reaching consumers through, clear propositions, clear copies through television, then build digital on top of it from a reach standpoint, build print from an impact standpoint, and then look at other opportunities in the social area, for example, influencer marketing to add nuances and specific detailing about the products that we are building. So those have been the four major pillars of our marketing strategy. And then, of course, we've backed up very strongly with what we do below the line. For example, digital performance marketing on the e-commerce platforms, activation in stores, and activation in societies and homes. So I think that's the entire gamut of how we're approaching our marketing.
Okay. So since you mentioned a bit about premiumization, and it's actually becoming a major trend. So
Yeah.
let's talk about that. So how is Eureka Forbes approaching the launch of their premium products, and what sets these products apart from, in terms of technology and consumer, and especially if we talk about it 2024, if there has been any launch of new products, and what the feedback have you received from the audience, consumers?
No, absolutely. And I think, as I mentioned, we are starting to see all the categories in durables premiumize, and the categories in which we are part of are no exception. Uh, and we've actually used the role of innovations to actually drive premiumization in the market. So if I were to give examples this year, in the case of water purifiers, I think we launched a few products. If I talk about a couple of them, we launched a product which was called AquaGuard Blaze Insta, which gives you both hot water and ambient water, and you don't have to wait, for hot water to heat up. It just comes instantly in the machine. And it's a very, very user-friendly product, and it's got a lovely design. And we've actually seen that that has really taken the market by storm. And we are, by far the number one selling, hot and ambient purifier in the market this year, thanks to the launch of that product. And that product comes at a very, very premium price. So it's the highest price purifier in the market, and yet selling, really well. Similarly, we also have seen that a lot of consumers, as they are modifying the kitchens, they're looking for water purifiers which are actually under the counter, under the sink. And you have a faucet which gives you water, which is placed on top of the sink. So we launched an integrated design under the counter water purifier. It was called AquaGuard Designo NXT. And that again has given us some really, really strong response. And again, in both these segments, hot and the under the counter, we are by far, the market leader, thanks to these two innovations that we've launched this year. And these, mind you, are the most premium priced products in the market compared to any other competition. So what we've seen is that when you give great customer experience, a great user design, and of course back it up with strong functionality, I think people are willing to pay that premium. We've actually been surprised actually with the kind of response we've seen, and therefore that's going to be one of the things which we'll continue to drive strongly in the future.
Okay, so I believe partnerships, like strategic partnerships, can open new avenues for businesses. So let's talk more about the partnerships and collaborations. So could you shed some more light on any recent partnerships or upcoming collaborations that Eureka Forbes is planning to do for more expansion?
Look, we obviously have a lot of strategic partnerships with our supply chain and value chain partners. So be it, for example, the component manufacturers that we work with, or ahead from a value chain point of view, whether it's the retail platforms or the e-commerce platforms that we work with. So those are actually very, very strategic partnerships. But that would be, I think, something which I think most companies would be pursuing anyhow. I think we do have some very unique partnerships, but a lot of them are in the realm of supplier relationships, and that's not something which I'll be able to disclose publicly. But for sure, if I look at, for example, robotic vacuum cleaners, which is a big growing segment, we do have some strong strategic partnerships with some of our supply partners, which allow us to have a very, very high-end product and a very high-tech product to be launched in the market. We also have partnerships, which we are trying to build on the media side, for example, with influencers. So we have collaborated with a lot of influencers this year, and they've taken our products and actually talked, about them, and that's something which we'll cultivate, going forward. So, for example, I think the Blaze Insta product, which is the hot and ambient, we had many celebrities, including, let's say, Karishma Tanna, who did a reel for us, and that was very well received, for example. Similarly, on the robotic vacuum cleaners, we've had a lot of celebrities from South. We have this Kannada actress called Pranita. She just did a reel for us. So we're doing a lot of collaborations as well on the influencer marketing side.
So since you mentioned a lot about the robotic side of the vacuum cleaner, and I'm quite thrilled to know more about it. So let's talk about that. So as we all know, digital transformation is reshaping almost every other industry. So how is Eureka Forbes enhancing its digital capacities, and what role again e-commerce plays in the overall growth strategy?
Yeah, so I think digital is a very strong, part of our plans. And in fact, we see the future of Eureka Forbes as a health tech company, which means digital solutions are actually integrated with health solutions. Uh, this year, if I were to give you a couple of examples, we earlier on in the year, upgraded our consumer-facing mobile app, which allows all our customers, for example, if you own a water purifier, to come onto the app and pretty much do everything. For example, book a service, track where the technician is, buy an AMC, all that you can do on the app. We upgrade our website and made it very product commerce friendly. So today, for example, you can go to eurekaforbes.com and you'll be able to buy any product and get some great offers, bank offers. You can get a buyback of an old product and get the delivery in your house. So all those features were enabled. So direct to commerce, D2C, both through the app and through the website, is one large part of our strategy, which we have activated this year. We are also, growing very fast on e-commerce, and between D2C and e-commerce, we see that to be a real growth driver for the company. It already is, and in the future, we'll continue to see as one of the fastest growing channels for the company in terms of meeting consumer requirements. And of course, from a media standpoint, which is outreach to consumers, digital continues to every year be an increasing part of our media mix. And today, for example, when we make our of the line plans, it's always a combination of television with digital.
So I'll just hop on to my next question, that is about the sustainability and how is it a priority for every other business and brands. So let's talk about that. And so what initiatives has Eureka Forbes taken to, advance its sustainability efforts, and how do you balance environment responsibilities with also business growth?
No, I think that's a great question. And I think one of the things which I would say we are fortunate to be, fortunate that we are actually present in, categories, for example, water purifiers, which fundamentally have a very strong, social impact, positive social impact, because you're saving lives. And in fact, one of the things which are, best running ad of the last 2 years actually really talks about how, getting water purifier actually saves, children from falling sick, which is really why people actually buy that category. So we are fortunate to be present in those categories, and even other things such as, air purification and vacuum cleaners, etc., really improve the quality of health for the household, for the family. So be that as it may, I think one of the things which we have been a little challenged in the past as an industry when it comes to RO purifiers has been the fact that some of the water gets wasted in the purification. And earlier, what used to happen was only 25% of the water was actually recovered in RO purifiers, and 75% would get wasted. So what has happened now is that since November, all the purifiers that we have, the RO purifiers, now actually save you minimum 40% water. Okay, so that's the a strong recovery which happens. And we also launched, long filter life products this year, a couple of products which actually save you more than 50% water. Uh, so effectively, one of the big things that we have done is to improve the water recovery standards of our RO purifiers, and that we feel is a strong step towards, sustainability when it comes to water. We are also compliant completely with the EPR regulations around plastic waste, etc., which the government has, and that's something which we'll continue to build on.
Okay, so great to hear that. And let's talk more about the marketing and advertising budgets. So,
Mhm.
could you share some, insights on Eureka Forbes marketing and ad spends for the year 2024, which has already been, and would you like to, anticipate the spends evolving in the year 2025? If not these stats, you could just give us a quick percentage, growth percentage share that.
Yeah. No, yeah, no, thanks. Great question. And I think I think one thing which we are completely committed to as a company, and I think that's true with our investors, with our finance managers, etc., is that advertising spends actually leads to growth. So I think we see that very, very strong correlation. And as a result, this year, we've actually increased our advertising spends by close to 30% on, above the line media, which includes TV, digital, and the other media that we talk about, influencer marketing and all that stuff included. This excludes, performance marketing and below the line. That's separate. So we seeing a strong, a growth there this year, and we'll continue to actually invest for growth. I think we clearly see advertising as driving growth for the company. Within the various spends that we do, we of yeah, brand marketing, we spend about uh, 50 to 60% on television. It's actually come down slightly, so I would say 50 to 60%. A big chunk, about 35% plus, actually happens on digital, 35 to 40%, and the balance goes to things such as print or other specific opportunities which might arrive from time to time. So that's the split of how we see the budgets with the various channels, and of course, digital in totality. If I were to add things like connected TVs and influencers, etc., is growing the fastest of all the various channels that we have.
Okay, so since we are in the month Fed and there's been a recent announcement like the union budget announcement, so I would like to quickly ask that what is your take on it and how do you think it is going to impact the consumer electronics segment in particular?
No, I think it's a great budget. I think the fact that I think there's a significant income tax saving for the middle class. I think that's been obviously the biggest announcement from our industry's point of view. And indeed, I think the day the budget came, I think our share price was up 7%. And I think most consumer electronics and durables companies also saw an increase in share price. So very clearly, I think the market also believes that the budget is very favorable for consumer durable companies, and I think it really targets the class of consumers who, uh, let's say, might have postponed purchases because of challenges earlier, but with the extra money which will be available in their hands, a lot of it should come into durable purchases, which are long-term purchases. Typically, you keep a durable for the next 5, 7 years. So we do believe that actually it should add a lot of tailwind into the growth our category is seeing already, and so we are hopeful. We are pretty hopeful that it's a strong budget, and it should start to show up in the growth of the category in the near future.
Okay, and lastly, looking ahead to 2025, what are some of the key focus areas and growth plans for Eureka Forbes? Would you like to share the roadmap, and are there any major market expansions, innovations, and what are any strategic shifts which we can expect as a consumer perspective?
Yeah, no, so I think, I think the core aspects of, what we try and drive as a business, which is getting more people to buy water purifiers, so penetration of water purifiers for the category itself, premiumization of water purifiers, getting our service to be of great quality, and then generating service revenue for water purifiers. and then growing categories such as vacuum cleaners, air purifiers. I think those fundamentals don't change. The fact that we'll drive digital very aggressively and growth via digital channels aggressively, those fundamentals will not change. I think what we will be doing will be to pick up specific areas and double down. So, for example, from an innovation standpoint, just towards the end of the calendar year, we launched our first smart purifier. So AquaGuard's, smart purifier. This is, I think, India's first truly smart purifier, if I may say. And what this does is that allows consumers to measure how much water they're consuming on their app. It's connected, the machine is connected. They can see the life of the filters. They can see when they need to service the machine, all remotely. Yeah, and you can even do a device health check. Now, so that's a completely new innovation, and this is going to be one big area which will be expanding in the future. So we do believe there's a strong market for IoT-based smart water purifiers, and I think that and you'll see some action in that area. I'm sure we'll see more action from other players as well in that area, but for sure from AquaGuard, we've taken the first step towards that direction.
Okay, noted. And I think that's it. You have answered all my questions. And thank you so much again for joining us. That's
Thank you,
it.
Anushka.